Firstly, welcome everyone. My name is Terry Dillon, the CEO and co-founder of CLUBMAP. This is our 15th series and the last webinar of the 15th series. And tonight's topic is all about summarising the series that was. Firstly, I want to thank Active Queenslanders Industry Alliance, who are a spin-off of Q Sport. They've been a long-term partner of ours. Also, the Australian Sports Foundation, we're the nominated educator for the Sports Foundation. For those that are new tonight, and there's a few newbies here, we were fortunate to win the Telstra Business Awards for building communities in the state of Victoria in 2023. If anyone's been through a Telstra process, it's a very rigorous process. So this tonight is all about reviewing the series, and the topics we're going to summarise are as follows: the importance of structure, the importance of planning, systems and database. We're going to talk about volunteers. I'm going to touch briefly on the over 55s opportunity. We're going to touch briefly on the Australian Sports Foundation. Every club in Australia needs to be registered with the Australian Sports Foundation. There's a gap in knowledge there that we need to pass on. We're going to touch a little bit on grants, and we're going to talk about fundraising, why clubs are struggling with raising money. Because a lot of clubs, the way they raise money is they're adopting a 50-year-old model, and we'll show you that tonight. We're also going to start on what we believe are the new age ways of raising money, particularly digitally. Hopefully enjoy the webinar. We've had over, I think it's 1,250 different people tune into this webinar series across the country. And I think we had 68 sports when we went through the data. So thank you for those that have been a part of the series. So just for those that don't know us, we've been around nearly 10 years. We're about 3 months off 10 years. Work with all different sports, lots of governing bodies and councils. One-on-one, we do probably our DNA is working one-on-one with community clubs. Obviously, we have the collective education, which is what tonight's about. We've had over 20,000 people tune into our webinars across the years. So tonight's webinar is as said earlier, is summarising the season that was. Year that was. Actually, we do 2 seasons. We do two webinar series each year. And we're going to talk about the importance of a formula.
Hi everyone, thanks for checking out the webinar recording. Before we dive into it, just while you're watching, if you think that your club could use some help with your sponsorships, other revenue streams, more volunteers, planning, even a bespoke committee structure like what we discussed in webinar 1 a couple of weeks ago, we'd love to help. Our workshops can have a huge impact on your club and the broader community. We know it's tough for clubs with funds at the moment, and we want to make it as easy as possible for clubs to work with us. We'll help you find and apply for a grant to fund our workshops at no cost to your club. There are a number of local and state grants open now, in late February, early March 2025. All the links are in the description. Get in touch with the grants team or shoot us a good old email, info@clubmap.com.au. Thanks again. Back to the webinar.
This is something, I think when I started 7 or 8 years ago, this was sort of the leading slide. That's what makes up a successful club. It's about people. You got to have finance, about capability of meeting your obligations, the importance of revenue, the new age way of raising money. We're going to talk about technology, the core business. If you're a cricket club or a hockey club or a pickleball club or whatever what you might be, there's some specific expertise inside that sport. We're going to talk about the importance of facilities and culture. So that's sort of the lay of the land. Rarely do clubs that we speak to take a sort of step back to review their work, where they were. And we know for many, it's like having a part-time job here, not getting paid to do it. So we find, our model, our business is built around one theme: successful community clubs share the load. Most clubs are run by 3 or 4 people who do 90% of the work. And that's the pressure point. And we're going to talk about generating more funds, planning for the future, etc. I'm going to talk about tonight's webinar. It's broken into 4 parts. Firstly, sharing the workload. Part 2, planning for the future. Part 3, generating more revenue. Part 4, grants update and how we can help. A lot of our community clubs are missing out on the rats and mice grants that are out there. A lot of our clubs have this sort of model: president, secretary, treasurer, VP, general committee. Big problem. That's antiquated. It's got to change. We're losing too many good quality people around Australia because they're getting blown up, because it's like having a part-time job and they're not getting paid to do it. We promote a model like this, and without going into the details, and remember tonight's very much about a summary of the series. We did a separate webinar just on this, but for me, the structure, we break it down into 3 tiers. Blue are the decision makers, the executive. The black boxes are people who sit on a board or committee who have a role. The green boxes are people who don't want to go on committee but are happy to contribute. And if I had to give you one tip, my advice to everyone, you've got to have a visual structure. Visual structure. People see how hard 3 or 4 people are working and they go, I've got to be careful here. If I get too close, I could end up in a big black hole I can't get out of. People want to know what they're walking into. That's why that visual structure is so important. For some reason, clubs don't share their structure. A, they don't have a visual structure. B, they might have a list of names, maybe it sits on a website. But people want to know what they're walking into. Again, a lot of our clubs, 9 out of 10 people who run community clubs Australia-wide aren't specifically taught how to run a club. We've got a really extensive education platform that is powerful beyond means. There's nothing like it in Australia. We're just about to add a new module, coaching appointment and coaching reviews for any of our existing clients. Who does the asking? I always say to clubs I speak to, the president, the 2 most important people at a club is the president and the head coach, who, if there is a head coach, a club coach. Outside of those 2, this is the most important role. The volunteer coordinator. Who's your asker, not your doer? Once you get a visual structure, most workshops we do, there's usually 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 gaps in the structure that clubs have. And again, for me, that is a critical role. It's a real skill in asking. Here's our new structure. Here's a little position description, database. Remember, look, then they see they're one piece of a bigger puzzle, and because many think they're going to get drawn into that black hole that I talked about earlier. So that's part 1. Now, part 2, planning. Look, you've all heard this. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. A lot of our organisations are so in operational mode, just getting stuff done, reactive, putting stuff out without formally having a plan. I think this is a minimum standard at community level. You've got to have a budget, got a basic budget. And people say, oh, we never had a budget. You need a budget. I'm an accountant, so I'm probably biased. Ken's got an accounting background as well, so you're probably biased as well. But again, I see too many clubs are in financial trouble. We just showed you. Half the clubs tuning in tonight have a level of debt. And so that's a red flag, isn't it? Now, revenue. A lot of our clubs, they're spending 100 hours raising $1,000. Chocolate drives, trivia nights, raffle tickets, sausage sizzles. Good, terrific, outstanding community exercises. But many of our clubs, which those debt numbers show when we did the survey, they need more. But it's the how to do it. This sounds strange, but we're steering clubs away from fundraising. Do 1 or 2 really well where you make a 5-figure sum. And again, we probably have 7 or 8 initiatives we forward, but some of our clubs are doing lots and lots of revenue raising. But we're steering to our clubs to focus more on membership and sponsorship. For me, the biggest missed opportunity at Clubland is membership. Not registrations. There's a difference. Membership and registrations are different. There's a lot of people come and go from community clubs, and once they leave, there's minimal to no contact with those people made. Some of our clubs are not making 1 cent from digital revenue. I could give you 2 or 3 fundraiser initiatives and make a strong 5-figure sum. That means less work, less effort, no cost of goods sold, no labor related costs. But again, a lot of our clubs, they're using the model that's in front of you. So I mentioned earlier about let's shift the revenue model more towards membership, more towards sponsorship, and online opportunities, the digital opportunities, online fundraising, online grants. That's the future. When I talk about grants, I'm not talking about capital grants, infrastructure and facilities. I often refer to them as rats and mice grants, the 0 to 25 grand grants. 0 out of 5, 0 out of 10. A lot of our clubs all apply for 1, 2, or 3 a year, but there's so many more grants out there that they just don't know about it. The corporate grants, the philanthropic grants, they typically know about the local council grants, but they miss out on many, many other grants that are not out there. And again, it's not their fault.
Thanks for watching our webinar recording. The full cut is in the resources hub right now, along with a heap of other educational videos, tips, info pages, examples, templates on how to set up and run a successful sponsorship program at your club. There's also videos, info and templates on a range of other topics, from volunteers to committee structure, finances, governance, and some new online fundraisers and revenue streams that you can implement. It's available for everyone at your club, or just $49 for 12 months for one account. Check out hub.clubmap.com.au for more information or to buy online. And as always, we'd love to have a chat about your club and how we can help out. Use the QR code, or all the links are in the description as well. Tuning in live if you can is always better. Means you can hang around for some Q&A and have a chat about the topic with us at the end. clubmap.com.au to save your spot. We'll see you then.